Body bag! Body bag!
Welcome back, Sinners, to another episode of Saturday Night Cinema. As always, I'm your host, Sawyer St. Sin. And grab your formaldehyde martinis, zip yourself up tight, because tonight we're talking about Body Bags. Released onto Showtime, August 8th, 1993, with the directors John Carpenter and Tobe Hooper. John did 2 movies and Hooper did 1. Hooper did The Eye and Carpenter did The Gas Station and Hair. Now, our writers are Dan Angel and Billy Brown. Let's get into the cast. So we're going to break this up a little bit. You know how we do anthologies, right? We break it up a little bit. So the actors in The Morgue are actually John Carpenter. John plays our coroner. Think of him as the crypt keeper, but in the morgue. And then we have morgue worker number 1, Tom Arnold, and morgue worker number 2, Tobe Hooper. Now, you don't see Tom or Tobe until like towards the end, after they've already talked about all the movies, but we'll get into that a little later. So we start off, John's going through, looks like he's having his evening meal with a little, brains and formaldehyde martini. Super cute. Super weird for, coroner. But he's going around and he's like, boring, natural causes, something exciting. And that's when he comes across the gas station. And so our main characters in this, I'm not going to go through everyone, but our main characters is Robert Carradine as Bill. Many of you may know him from Revenge of the Nerds. Then we have Alex Datcher. She plays Anne. So Bill is the gas station attendant that she is relieving for the night. It's her first day on the job. And so when she gets there, they're just kind of running around like the basics, and she's already worked a gas station before, so she pretty much knows, what to do in certain situations, right? So Bill just leaves her, and she's just, it's overnight at the gas station. Not a whole lot of people are out and about overnight. So she's studying for some psych something. She's a psych student, I'm assuming, in college. I just saw that word. But there's also a serial killer on the loose. They've heard about it all night on the radio. So she's a little jumpy. So the first person that she runs into, right, that would be Mr. West Craven. Yeah, he makes a little appearance. He looks a little drunk. They call him the rusty-faced man, but really he's a drunk. That's what he is. But she serves him, and, he's kind of weirding her out a little bit. She just wants him to go, right? So some more time passes, and we meet up with our next customer of the night. Again, a name that you guys will probably be familiar with. David Naughton. It plays Pete. You'll remember him back at, guys, seriously, American Werewolf in London. And that Dr. Pepper commercial too. So he comes and she's kind of flirting with him. She, likes his car, and she ends up accidentally like keeping his credit card. And so she like runs out of the booth to try to flag him down, and she doesn't flag him down in time. So he goes away, and then she realizes, shit, the door automatically locks and I don't have a key. So she's like trying to get in, and then from around the corner, none other than Mr. Buck Flowers, as like a homeless stranger man, is like, hey, I need the key to the bathroom. And she's just like, I'll have to see if I can go get one. And she goes over to the like main area of the gas station where there's a automobile shop, and she's able to roll up the garage door, get some keys from there, and then is able to get into the booth to give him the bathroom key. But like, he came out of nowhere and scared the absolute crap out of her. And then like, a guy and his like wife like pull up, and they've been partying, and he's like, hey man, I need the key to the job. And she's like, oh, there's someone already in there. Like, and also, can you like check on him, because like, he's been in there for quite some time. And he's like, yeah. And the guy comes back and he's like, yeah, he's like, he's out there passed out. And she's like, did you grab the key? And he's like, no. And so like they leave after they get done pumping gas, and she decides that she's gonna go into the bathroom and get the stranger. Well, she gets there, gets the key, there's nobody in there. She turns around, but there's this like wicked drawing, of this like demon like ripping people apart, killing people like on one of the like walls. And it's killer. It looks so good. And so she then goes like, back, and she's like, huh, and she hears some noises coming from the automobile place, like the lift is going up and down where there's like a truck, and she notices that our stranger is in the truck, and she goes to try to like wake him up, and oh, lo and behold, he's dead. Yeah, he's dead. So she runs back to the booth, hightails it back to the booth, and tries to call Bill, because he left her number, or his number, for her to call if she had any problems. Well, kitty cats, guys and gals, peeps, that phone number just rings over to the automobile like workshop, and Bill picks up and does the whole like voice message thing, beep, and then starts coming to the booth. Not a good thing for her, right? Not good. So he's got like, he picks up a sledgehammer, and he's like trying to bust in the window, and it takes him a while, but he eventually does it. But she's like running to the back, like to the bathroom, like trying to find anything to like protect herself with, and she finds the real Bill. Like the real Bill like falls out on top of her, like dead. And also, that dead body was played by Sam Raimi. We're just throwing, this is like the Wishmaster all over again. We just throwing all kinds of names out. All kinds. It's like John just like called up a bunch of his friends and were like, hey, I'm doing this thing. You want to come? Anyways, so like Bill gets in. She whacks him over the head with like a steel chair or something. Stool of some sort. He's laying there kind of like twitching. Anyways, She doesn't make sure that he's dead, even though the machete that he had is like in clear reach, and just, you know, make sure that he's done. She runs over to the automobile shop, which, like, when she got spooked that dude died, like, she spilled a bunch of oil on the floor. But she, like, moves over, like, she, like, pushes over Buck and tries to, like, start the truck. But she can't get it started as Bill is, like, raising it up, and like the wheels are just like spinning. She's trying, but I'm like, she's on the lift, there's nothing you can do, honey. So then he, like, you know, like, puts it back down and starts trying to attack her. But guess what, guys? Pete to the rescue. So cute little Pete to the rescue. You know, fights Bill off, and Bill ends up, like, you know, pushing him away and slipping in the oil and lands, like, underneath the truck, where, you know, she's out of the car now, but she lowers the lift down on him and just, like, crushes him underneath the truck. And then Pete and her, like, exchange glances, and Pete's like, forgot my credit card. And that's how that ends. It's so funny. So we're met back in the morgue by our hilarious coroner, again, going through, you know, natural cause deaths, boring stuff. He pulls out one, he pulls out one from, you know, the coolers. I'm not sure what exactly they're called, but, you know, pulls one out, and she's decapitated, and goes to the second one, and he's decapitated, and he's like, maybe it was a lover's spat, you know, lover's quarrel, and then he throws both their, like, severed heads. And we go on to the next one, hair. Now, sorry, I gotta turn my page notes. So, our leading man in this one is Stacy Keach. He plays Richard, you know, a balding middle-aged man who just, you know, just wants his hair back, guys. He wants to feel young again. And then we have Sheena Easton, not like, you know, the singer Sheena Easton. It's an actress named Sheena Easton. She plays Megan, which is, you know, his girlfriend, and she's like, you need to stop obsessing over this hair thing. Like, I love you for you. Like, you know, it's fine, whatever. Like, you know, it's driving me crazy that you're so obsessed with this. And then we have David Warner as Dr. Locke. And we have Debbie Harry as his nurse. Oh, and we have Greg Nicotero making a little appearance with a dog. See, Stacey is just out and about, and he sees all these people with this just great, luscious hair. And Greg Nicotero walks, you know, by, and this was in the, you know, 90s when he had long, flowing blonde locks. And even the dog has long hair. Like, the dog's some kind of, like, long hair breed. Poor Richard. Just everywhere he looks, everyone's got perfect hair. And he tries everything, guys. He tries everything. Like, his stylist tries to style it to where it looks better. He tries a toupee. That looks bad. He tries some kind of, like, spray on hair situation, which Megan goes to kiss him on the top of his head, and it comes off all on her face. It's ridiculous. So, you know, late one night, he spots, like, an infomercial for Dr. Locke. And, like, Dr. Locke has some buzzwords, you know, in his little speech, like Roswell and some other ones that I can't quite, like, conjure up in my brain. But I do remember Roswell. So Richard goes to him for, you know, a hair transplant. And it's successful. Richard has these beautiful long locks. But like the problem with this is that they just won't stop growing. And then he's like developing this like situation in his throat. It hurts, and he just all the time just like feels really bad. He thinks he's getting sick. He goes to cut some of the hair, and it turns into like little snakes. And then like he's like trying to look in his throat, and he notices that there's like a hair like in his throat, and like hair is coming out like of crazy places in his face. So he goes back to Dr. Locke, and he's like, you know, he's looking rough. Like his like skin is starting to peel off, looking like leprosy. It's kind of crazy. And then Dr. Locke proceeds to explain to him, you know, that they need human brains to feed off of. So they're aliens doing these implants so that they can feed off of people. I mean, and that's just kind of where we leave it, is him getting his hair harvested, or he's getting harvested. It's aliens. They're out there. They exist. I believe it. Sometimes I think I am one, but that's for another day. So now we're back in the morgue with, again, our kooky, lovable, like, coroner, and he's ran out of the formaldehyde, so he has to grab something else. And so he grabs a jar that had an eyeball in it and pours himself a drink. And then we go into our next, you know, movie, The Eye. And our standout people here, because there's some people have like a little bitty parts, but I'm just gonna name the two main people. We got Mark Hamill, and he is Brent Michaels. At first I thought it was Brett, and I was like, haha, that's funny, but it's not. It's Brent Michaels. And then we have Twiggy, the model. If you don't know who she is, then, you know, look her up. Also, if you don't know who Mark Hamill is, then I don't know if we can be friends. Because, I mean, you know, the Joker, Luke Skywalker, I mean, we can't be friends if you don't know who he is. But anyways, Twiggy plays Kathy, his wife. And Brent is a big time, or not big time, he's a minor league baseball player. And then we have Twiggy playing Kathy, his wife. And we start off with seeing, you know, Brent on the field. Yeah, they call that a field, right? Baseball, diamond, field, whatever. I'm not sports, don't know. So, in the locker room, there's some like, you know, hey, you might be getting called up soon type of situation. He calls his wife, tells her like, I'm gonna be home soon. And she's like, I've got great news to tell you. And he's like, tell me now. And she's like, no, I wanna wait till you get home. So it's a dark, very stormy night. He is looking through his cassette tapes in the next seat, and goes to unbuckle his seatbelt because he just can't quite reach that, you know, perfect cassette. And he gets it, and when he does, it's too late. There's a deer, and he swerves to miss it, and wouldn't you know, right into a tree. And a large shard of glass like impales his right eye, and he wakes up in the hospital being told by the doctor that he's probably gonna lose that right eye. But you know, he's like, I can't, like, this is my life, that I need my eyes to play baseball. That's the eye that I line up, you know, with the hit. And so he's like, well, there is this one doctor I can, you know, set you up with. He's doing this experimental thing. And so he talks to this doctor. He's like, yeah, like, you know, it's been successful and like whatever, blah, 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 you know, and Brent is just looking to whatever he can do, like he'll take the chance. Doctor is like, well, it is brown, so we'll get you a blue contact lens so that you know, will look normal. Surgery goes well, things go good, he's able to see out of it, but it does come with some drawbacks, like these little flashes of light at first and headaches. Then he gets released from the hospital. His wife shows him the present that she got him, which is just, hey, guess what? You're going to be a dad. Here's a crib to put together. I mean, that's kind of a mean way to, you know. Anywho. So these headaches and these flashes just continually to get worse. First he sees, like, you know, dead feet in the yard poking up out of the ground. Then like flashbacks of what seems to be like a mother figure, like burning cigarettes out on a child, all the way to arms in the garbage disposal. And then there's the scene with his wife where they're, you know, gonna have some time, and he's getting really, really rough with her, and then he's having flashes of like these dead bodies, and he seems to be enjoying like the flashes of the dead bodies. And then he bites into her arm and like makes her bleed, and you know, when she gets, you know, out from under him, you know, he just kind of is like, just leave me alone. And she goes and sleeps on the couch, and she wakes up to hearing him like mumbling something, and he's, you know, got the Bible in his hand, and you know, she's like, maybe you should go talk to the doctor, you know, and he's got an appointment with him anyways at some, you know, that some point that day. And so he goes and he waits for him, and he sees him, and he confronts him about, hey, like, where did you get this eye from? And so he tells him, like, you know, it was someone who just got like executed. He was a serial killer. You know, gives him his name. Brent goes to the library, looks him up on the newspaper, and there's some key points as to some things that have like been flashes, like he buried his victim in the backyard. He tried to dispose of them in the garbage disposal. He used gardening shears. He might have done some, you know, acts after they were dead with them. You know, and they were blonde, like his wife, like Kathy. So, I mean, he goes home, and he's out working in the, you know, garden area, digging away, and she's like, hey, honey, like, can we, like, talk? We need to talk about what happened. And he's like, no, I'm busy, I gotta get this done, you know, I gotta finish digging your grave. And then he proceeds to try to attack his pregnant wife, guys, 5 weeks pregnant. She runs into the house, which is dumb in any horror case. Like, run to the neighbor at least. And it wasn't like they live like in a, you know, like somewhere out far. Like, they live in a subdivision. Like, their neighbors are right there. Anyways, so he ties her hair to the leg of a table, and is telling her everything that he found out about this guy that he got his eye from. And she's, you know, trying to plead and beg any, you know, chance she has with, you know, her husband, because it seems like the, you know, the eye has taken over, right? So she is able to pull the Bible off of the table, and like there's like, you know, a little note that she had written in there when she gave it to him. And so he's reading, and you can see this like internal struggle going on with him, and he has the kitchen shears in his hand, or why do I keep calling them kitchen? They're gardening shears. Good Lord. Anyways, so he's got them in his hand and he's like struggling, and then he stabs the right eye. And as he like falls to the ground and is dying there, then we see the passage that it was open to, which is like, you know, thee shall cast the right eye out if it is offensive or something. I can't quote the Bible, but that's something around to that nature of casting the right eye out. And then we see him laying in the morgue with our friendly neighborhood coroner, but he hears people coming, right? So he's like, oh, my time's over, and he takes off the lab coat, right? And hops in a body bag. Guys, our friendly neighborhood coroner has been dead this whole time. It's been a zombie, like, corpse situation. But he's the next one that the boys are going to look at. So they unzip him, they get him ready, they notice that there's a gaping hole in, you know, his right abdomen. And Tom Arnold also makes the joke of like, this man looks like he's been drinking formaldehyde. Which, I mean, he was. A lot of it. Like, probably all that you had in the morgue. But so we go out on seeing our little friendly coroner getting worked on. And that's where we end it, guys. Carpenter was fantastic in this like little crypt keeper like situation. I think it's fun to like when directors like come like onto like, you know, the screen and kill it, like, because he killed it. Some don't do it so well. Others do it fantastic, and he was fantastic. I really like the gas station, like the slasher like feel of it. The hair was fantastic, as well as its like little like alien suspense, you know, situation. I liked the eye. I thought some of the acting in the eye could be a little bit better, a little bit. But I mean, you know, the suspense and the jump scares of the like the bodies were good. They were nicely placed. Overall, it's a great movie, and you should go see it. It's Tubi. Check out Tubi, guys. I really feel like I should be sponsored by Tubi as much as I talk about them in my videos. But I also know that they're a free like situation. But Tubi, check out Tubi. They have great horror films, like the one I'm going to talk about next week, that has Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing, you know, and not as Dracula or as Van Helsing, okay? So, I mean, we have an anthology again next week. It is The House That Dripped Blood. I'm excited. I've never heard of this movie, so I can't wait to check it out and tell you guys all about it. Until then, I'm Sawyer Saintson. This is Saturday Night Cinema, and I hope you have a great rest of your week. Bye.
Grow up! Get more! Make the life into such you!